Trump mentions America's debt constantly. And yet he has said very specifically he will not touch entitlements. That's been a part of his message to his base. You have pointed out that entitlements are 2/3 of America's budget. Many experts who are nonpartisan have made it very clear that without changes to America's entitlements, this country is going to have a major issue. Will Donald Trump change his tune on entitlements and say they're on the table?
I think Donald Trump will stick to what he said. Now, my personal belief is
He might do something different?
that he might do something different, because you have to do something different. So if you just look at it and say, okay, out of entitlements, 64% or so is healthcare, Social Security, embedded. Then you have 7% that's interest on the debt. You have 15% that's defense. So at the end of the day, you have maybe 6 or 7% that you can play with. So you ask the average person, are you happy that the Department of Interior costs $23 billion a year? And they say, well, I have Smokey the Bear sitting at the national parks. How could it cost $22 billion a year? I said, well, how about the Department of Commerce? Do you think it costs $19 billion to go from inches to meters? What does the Department of Commerce do? What does the Department of Energy do? What do all of the Veterans Administration, $155 billion, and the best and brightest vets that we have, the people who fought for the country, are sleeping on streets. At some point in time, somebody better rip it to the ground, because it's institutional bureaucracy, and this, to me, is the issue. At the end of the day, somebody's got to say, you've got to move the retirement age up 2 years. You have to do all these things. Chris Ritchie came out with a 12-point plan that was actually very interesting. It's not Donald Trump's.
And he did some of that in New Jersey, yes.
And it works. And everybody has to give something up. But if we don't give something up, we're going to crash. 19 trillion in debt, 100 trillion in total debt and entitlements. So just for the average person, what that is, because it just sounds like a number, if we took half of the income, and this is an approximation, half of the income of the working people in the United States, and said we're going to apply that to retiring that debt, it's about 300 million years, right? Interest accruing on debt as it goes.
But we don't. But he could be making this case. He's not making this case.
He's not making this case because it's a political suicide to make this case, right? Because if you go up and start saying, I'm going to attack Social Security, I'm going to attack Medicaid, I'm going to attack all these departments. By the way, all of those people and all those departments who are well-meaning and work, we now have 17% about of the workforce that's employed by the government.
So there goes those votes.
There goes those votes. So no smart politician is going to step into that milieu.